You walk into your grandfather's basement in the dead of January. The furnace is silent, the lights are on, the kettle is hot, and there is no power bill taped to the fridge upstairs, because there never was one. That man heated a 2-story farmhouse through 43 Pennsylvania winters and paid the electric company less than what you spend on coffee in a month. He was not rich. He was not off-grid in some survivalist sense. He just understood a system that almost every working-class American man knew before 1955, and almost no man under 60 knows today. By the end of this, you are going to understand the exact 4-part setup those men used, and I am going to hand you one specific trick, pulled straight from a 1948 Rural Electrification Administration pamphlet that you can build on a Saturday afternoon with parts from any hardware store. I want to tell you something before we go further. My grandfather Walter kept a small black ledger on a nail beside the cellar stairs in Altoona. I found it after he passed in 2003. Every month for 31 years, he wrote down the electric meter reading in pencil. The number barely moved. I thought he was cheating the company somehow. He was not. He was running a system, and the system had 4 legs. The first leg was thermal mass, and this is where every modern man gets it wrong. We think heating means producing heat. Those men thought heating means storing heat. There is a difference, and the difference is your entire utility bill. Walter's house had a brick chimney that ran straight up the middle of the structure. Not on the outside wall like builders do now to save money. Down the middle, that chimney was wrapped on all 4 sides by the kitchen, the parlor, and 2 bedrooms upstairs. He fired a small cast iron stove twice a day, morning and evening, for about 40 minutes each time. The bricks held the heat for 9 to 11 hours. He never ran that stove through the night. He did not have to. The University of Wisconsin published a study in 1952 measuring thermal lag in central-chimney farmhouses across the upper Midwest. The average interior temperature swing over 24 hours was just 7 degrees Fahrenheit. 7. Your modern forced air system cycles 15 to 30 times a day to hold a 4-degree swing, and it costs you $240 a month to do it. But thermal mass alone does not explain how he kept the lights on for pennies. That brings us to the second leg. The second leg was what those men called load matching, and it is the simplest idea you have never heard. You do the work when the sun is up, you rest when the sun is down. Sounds obvious. It is not, because they engineered their entire day around it. Walter rose at 4:40 in the morning and did everything that needed electricity before 9 at night. After 9, the house ran on one 60-watt bulb in the kitchen and a kerosene lamp on the parlor table. That lamp burned for about 3 cents an evening in 1951 money, and the equivalent today, with a modern kerosene lamp and proper wick, runs you about 11 cents a night. 11 cents to light a room for 4 hours. The 1948 Rural Electrification Administration Field Guide, which I will come back to, specifically instructed farm families to wire only the rooms they actively used after dusk and to install what they called a master cutoff at the panel. One throw of one switch killed every phantom load in the house. No standby drain, no vampire power, 0. The average American home today bleeds between $75 and $130 a year in phantom loads from devices that are technically off. Walter bled 0 because he flipped one switch. Therefore, the third leg becomes obvious once you see the first 2. Heat the man, not the house. This one is going to feel strange at first, but stay with me. Those men did not heat empty rooms, they heated bodies. A wool union suit, which you can still buy from Duluth or Filson today, traps so much body heat that a man sitting still in a 62-degree room feels exactly like a man in a 72-degree room wearing a cotton t-shirt. The U.S. Army Quartermaster Corps published clothing insulation values in 1944, measured in a unit called the klo. 1 klo equals a business suit. A wool union suit under flannel work clothes hits 2.6 klo. You have just added 10 degrees of perceived warmth for the cost of laundry. Walter kept his thermostat, when he finally installed one in 1967, at 58 degrees during the day and 48 at night. His wife thought he was insane for about a week. Then she put on the wool, and she never went back. Now here is where I have to talk to you directly for a minute, because I know what you are thinking. You are thinking this is a nice history lesson, but you live in a tract home in Phoenix or a condo in Cleveland, and none of this applies. I thought the same thing in 2009 when I started testing this in my own house outside Harrisburg. So let me give you something you can do this weekend, with no permits, no contractor, and under $40. Go to any hardware store and buy a single roll of reflective foil insulation, the kind with bubble wrap between 2 layers of aluminum. Cut panels to fit behind every radiator or heat register on an exterior wall in your house. Tape them in place with foil tape. That is it. You have just stopped between 18 and 24% of your heat from leaving through the wall behind the heater, which is what it has been doing every winter you have lived there. The National Bureau of Standards documented this exact technique in Building Materials and Structures Report 32, published in 1939. Your grandfather knew it. Your father might have known it. You were never told. Do that one thing, and you will see it on your next bill. Teach your son or your grandson to do it with you on Saturday morning, and you have just handed him something his teachers will never mention. But there is a fourth leg, and this is the one I promised you. This is the secret that almost nobody alive remembers, and it came straight out of that 1948 Rural Electrification Administration pamphlet I mentioned, specifically Bulletin 138, titled Practical Wiring for the Farm Home. It is called the daylight battery, and it is not what you think. Walter had a small room on the south side of the house, maybe 7 feet by 9 feet, with 2 windows. The floor was poured concrete painted matte black. The interior walls were brick, also dark. There was nothing else in that room except a wooden chair and a bookshelf. He called it the warm room. On any winter day with sun, even a cold sun, that room reached 78 to 82 degrees by 2 in the afternoon, with no heat source other than the windows. The concrete and brick absorbed solar energy through the morning and released it slowly through the evening, raising the temperature of the entire west side of the house by 4 to 6 degrees until nearly midnight. Bulletin 138 called this passive solar gain mass storage and gave exact specifications: south-facing glazing of at least 30 square feet, thermal mass of at least 400 pounds of masonry or water within 8 feet of the glass, dark, matte surface treatment. That is the entire formula. You can replicate it in any sunroom, any enclosed porch, any spare bedroom with south-facing windows, using nothing but a few 55-gallon drums painted flat black and filled with water set against the inside wall. This was standard knowledge in farm extension programs from 1936 through about 1953. Then natural gas got cheap, electric utilities got aggressive, and the bulletin stopped getting reprinted. The information did not die. It got shelved. Men like Walter kept practicing it quietly in basements and back rooms across this country, and the ledger on the nail proved it worked every single month for 31 years. You did not lose this because it stopped working. You lost it because nobody was paid to remind you. You came here tonight thinking you were going to learn a trick to shave a few dollars off a bill. You are leaving with a system 4 generations of American men used to make themselves nearly untouchable by the utility company, and you can start the first piece of it before sundown tomorrow. That is who you are. You are the man who finds what was set aside, picks it up, and hands it forward. Now I want to hear from you. Which of the 4 legs surprised you most? The thermal mass, the load matching, the wool, or the daylight battery? Tell me in the comments, and tell me where your grandfather lived, because I read every one of these. If you believe the old competence is worth recovering, subscribe and stand with the men doing it. The next video opens a 1936 Department of Agriculture manual that tells you exactly how those same men kept a full pantry through any winter for under $9 a year. I will see you there.